he goes to his father Jesse, and Jesse shows Samuel all his other sons. But until Samuel asked about him, his own dad didn't even think about showing David to Samuel. David was the youngest, and he also tended to the flock. But his own dad, Jesse, did not even think about showing David to Samuel until Samuel asked about him. But at first, Samuel thought that Eliab the eldest would have been the chosen because he was a strong and good-looking man. And God says to Samuel to not look at his outer appearance, for I have rejected him. And he goes on to say to him that he looks at man according to their heart and not their looks. God sees that all of us are broken. He sees that all of us have worth. And so much so, he sent Jesus to die on the cross for us. He became flesh and sacrificed himself. That is how much we're worth it to him. He does so much for us, throughout all history. He just does so much for us. And like I said, even though people of the world try to bring us down in many ways and saying we're not talented enough, we're not pretty enough, or we're not tall enough, short enough, skinny enough, this enough, that enough, to God, he says, I don't care about that. I made you, I created you, you are worth it because I made you, and you're worth it because I sent my son to die for you. You have a purpose, you have worth, you have value. And going in these terms, you are, because and going on these terms is going on lately, you are essential. You're essential. You're essential to God. You are of value. You have worth. You have meaning. You have purpose. There's if you ever get the time to look this up, there's a very unique show for a kids show. It's called You Are Special by Max Lucado. And basically what's about here, and I'll try to make this as short as try to explain it as quickly as possible. But there's a town full of Wemmicks. They're wooden people, and they give each other stickers, whether they be of stars or of gray dots. And the more stars a person has, the more special they are according to the other Wemmicks. The more gray dots a person has, the more of the loser, or a black sheep, so to speak, is how they're judged by the Wemmicks. And there's one Wemmick in particular named Punchinello, and he had nothing but gray stickers. All he had was gray dots. So they all shamed him and made him feel like he was worthless, like he was nothing, that he'll never be special at all. But he meets this girl named Lucia, and Lucia has no stickers on her whatsoever. And when people try to put stickers on her, whether it be a star or a gray dot, they don't stick to her at all. And he asks her how that is, and she says that what they think doesn't matter, and she explains to him that she goes to see Eli, the carpenter. And later, Punchinello gets the courage to go see Eli, the carpenter. And Eli tells him that what the other Wemmicks think doesn't matter as well. And he tells them, who are they to give stickers? They're Wemmicks just like you. And he says what they think doesn't matter. What I think matters. And I think you're special because I made you. And he tells them to come to visit him every day, to let him remind him how much he loves them. And at the very end of it, you see the stickers coming, or at least on this, you see the stickers coming off of Punchinello. And it's such a very unique and cool concept that even kids can understand it. And again, it's just one way to tell children, especially, that it doesn't matter what other people think of you. What God thinks of you is what ultimately matters. And you do matter to Him. I matter to Him. And He proved that to me. He showed me how much He loves me. He reminds me of that constantly, all the time. Despite the fact that I am imperfect, despite the fact that I have flaws, He shows me He loves me. And now it's like, the stickers, the gray dots that they put upon me was falling off. Because now what they've thought of me doesn't care anymore. I mean, I should say, it doesn't matter no more. They can't say what I mount up to or who I'll be as a person. They can't determine that because they're broken like I am. And people around you, they can't determine if you're going to be a sore loser all your life or not, because they're broken like you. Again, ultimately, God is the one who determines who we are. And in a little way, we do too, because of the choices we make. But if you have people tell you that basically you're good for nothing, the best thing you could do is forgive. It's extremely hard, and I know because it was really hard for me too. It can be really hard to forgive that, but it's with God, all things are possible. So first and foremost, forgive them, and secondly, prove them wrong. Allow God to work through you to show them that they're wrong. And one day they will realize it. And hopefully, by that time, they'll apologize for the way they've acted and stuff. But even if they don't, if you want to be truly set free from all the pain they inflicted upon you, you need to forgive them. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's possible. Trust me. But regardless where you are in life, I hope you know that God does love and care about you. You are essential to Him. You matter to Him. He gave you a purpose. He gave you meaning. He made something special for you that's for you. I mean, maybe you're not talented in, say, singing, but maybe you're talented in writing. Maybe you can't walk, or maybe you can't see or talk, but God could use something else. A characteristic about you, He can use something else about you to do miraculous things. I mean, like I said, talking about Nick was a man born without limbs, and he's inspiring people around the world now to know and love Christ. God is capable of doing miraculous things. I mean, as Jesus said, with man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. I mean, we can think of Mary too. Mary was just a regular Jewish girl. She wasn't a princess. She wasn't, a Pharisee's daughter. She was just a regular Jewish girl. And she, lived in Nazareth. And there was a lot of bias against Nazareth. And she was chosen to be the mother of Jesus, the Son of God. Ultimately, what matters to God the most is the fact that we're humble. He seeks people who seek Him, and He calls to people who call out to Him, and He chooses people who are humble. Ultimately, what matters to Him is our heart. That's what's most important to Him. And hopefully one day, if you don't know, you'll see that one day. But for now, just know, if you don't already, you are special. God made you to be special. You are essential. You are important. You matter. Your life matters. May the Lord be with you. I love you all. Shalom.